Welcome to Litbit channel. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறது poem. Poemோட name Ozymandias, written by Shelly. Ozymandias means a person once famous and respected who has since been utterly forgotten. Then Ozy means to breathe, Mandias means to rule. Name of the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley. He was born in 1792 in England, dead in 1822 in Italy. Gender male, literary period romantic period, genre romantic poetry. In this poem published in 11th January 1818, literary form sonnet, meter loose iambic pentameter, rhyme scheme AB AB AC DC ED EF EF. Publisher the Examiner. Let's see the poem line by line. I met a traveller from an antique land who said two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert near them on the sand, half sunk a shuttered visage lies whose frown. I met a traveller from an antique land. Here antique mention about ancient land. That land is Egypt. Next line, who said too vast. Vast means big, and trunkless means upper part of the body, legs of stone. Stand in the desert near them on the sand, half sunk a shuttered visage. Shuttered means damage, visage means face. Lies whose frown means displeasant or dislike. In this four line, the narrator wants to tell about he met a traveler from the ancient land, which refers to Egypt here. The traveler is talking to the narrator and telling him that here is huge stone statue which is now crumbling down. He further elaborates those two huge and massive legs which were the remaining parts of the once grand statue are still standing there. The upper part or trunk of the statue is missing as it seems to have crumbled and lost over a period of time. The place is a sandy desert and half covered, and the face of the statue lies half sunk in the sand. Next four lines are, and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And wrinkled lip means some lines on the lip, and sneer of cold commanded. A sneer of means a proud look, cold commanded means arrogant. A proud look, arrogant, tell that its sculpture well those patients read means interpreted, which yet survive. Survives means continue to live. Stamped means scalped. On these lifeless things, the hand that mocked means to ridicule or make fun them, and the heart that fed. In these lines, the poet to tell about the travelers then goes on to describe the expressions that is still reflected on the face of the statue. Despite the fact that the kingdom had fallen with the time and the king's glory had faded away. The stone face had expressions of arrogance. It had frown, wrinkled on lips, scornful and hostile expression on face, which showed on air of pride and arrogance. All this showed his insensitively disapproval, belittling others. A sculptor of the statue seems to know the king's arrogant nature. The sculptor skillfully interpreted the king's feelings and emotion on the statue. The king had no respect even for the sculptor whose hands created this statue. Now we will see the set of the poem. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, king of king. Look on my works, ye mighty and disper. Nothing beside remains around the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and pure. The lone and level and stands stretched far away. And on the pedestal means a base of the statue, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, king of king. Look on my works. Here means you mighty, and despair, a feeling of hopelessness, right? Then nothing besides remains around the decay. Decay means destroy with the time. Of the colossal. Colossal means big, wreck, and boundless means without end, and bare means open area. The lone and level stands stretched far away. Stretched far away means expanding far and wide. In this Sesset, poet explain about it was the statue of a ruler of Egypt, the great king Ramses II. He was the great pharaoh of the 19th century of ancient Egypt. His name was Ozymandias. The remains of statue stood mounted on the stone-based pedestal. There was an inscription engraved on it which read as a My name is Ozymandias, king of king. Look on my works, ye mighty and despair. This shows the king was full of conceit, self-importance, vanity, which thinks of all other as very low in front of him. These words of this challenge the mighty ones and says if anyone tries to surpass his work or tries to match up to him, the person will only end up in despair and frustration. At the end of the poem, the narrator that shows that despite his boastful inscription, everything is conquered by nature and nothing is immortal. The once vast and great kingdoms had now disappeared. Nothing is left of the vast kingdom, and all that can be seen is sand as far as one can see. The great kingdom and its great king had fallen. The civilization of his times had turned into the deserted barren wasteland. The point has commanded and shown sarcasm that of statement by seeing the insignificance of human being that the passage of time. Nothing is important and everything has to decay time. In this slide, I will give some glossary in this poem. In this poem's imagery in Ozymandias is vivid but limited in scope. The poem contains one central image, the shattered statue of Ozymandias, the Egyptian king. The physical characteristics of the statue convey the poem's theme, the transient natures of human life, and the ultimate fertility of fame, fortune, and power. Then, what message was Shelly trying to convey with the poem Ozymandias? The major theme behind Ozymandias is that all power is temporary, no matter how prideful or tyrannical a ruler is. Ramses II was one of the ancient world's most powerful ruler. What is Ozymandias' real name poem? Ozymandias was the Greek name of pharaoh Ramses II. The main theme of the Ozymandias are power of nature, power of humans, power of art, futility. Let's see the literary device of the poem. First one is enjambment. Shelly uses this device throughout the text. For example, it occurs in lines 2 and 8. By enjambing the lines, the poet creates a surprising flow. Next one is alliteration. It occurs in an antique, stone and stand, suck is shattered, cold commanded, etc. Next one is metaphor. The sneer of cold commanded contains a metaphor. Here, the ruler contempt for his subjugate is compared to the ruthlessness of a military commanded. Next one is irony. Shelley used this device in the following lines: look on my works, ye mighty, and despair, nothing besides remain. Next one is synecdoche. In the poem, the hand and the heart collectively hint at a pair of Ozymandias. As a whole, it is a use of synecdoche. Next one is allusion. The line, my name is Ozymandias, king of king, is allusion. Let's we see ERC of the poem. Half suck a shuttered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lips and the sneer of cold comment. So reference part, these lines have been taken from the poem Ozymandias written by Percy Bysshe Shelley. So context of these lines, the poet has beautifully linked to pride and the wrecked reality of life with an events. In explanation part, to tell about the upper body was missing, another part of the statue, the face lays on had on the sand nearby. It was damaged and broken into pieces. And these expressions continue to exist even after the king's death throughout this lifeless statue. The sculptor's hands copied the king's restless expressions and mocked at them, while the king's stone heart brought out these expressions on his face. Second ERC. My name is Ozymandias, king of king. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. So reference, same thing. These lines have been taken from the poem Ozymandias written by Percy Bysshe Shelley. So context of these lines, the poet had described what we can call the message of the poem. As the traveler continued to describe what he saw in desert, he says that there were some text written in the basis of the statue. In explanation part, the text tell the name of the king was Ozymandias. He was the most powerful king. He ordered the king to see his statue and feel belittled. But the tragedy is that now nothing remains except a lifeless statue of the king. The huge statue itself tells about the glory of the king. But now this huge and splendid statue has fallen the victim of nature. The broken piece of the statue are being vanished in the sand. The sand is scratching far away, and the statue of the king Ozymandias is getting a thick layer of sand on it. It cannot be seen anywhere. The next one, the lone and level stand stretched far away. So reference, these lines have been taken from the poem Ozymandias written by Percy Bysshe Shelley. So context of the poem, the last three lines describing the present ruined state of the statue present a vivid and pathetic contrast with the preceding two lines which convey the glory of greatness of Ozymandias. In explanation part, the climax comes with a piece of irony. Then mighty look on his work. Even the most arrogant assertions of the human spirit in the most massive material of the lucidous week. Then last one, Shelley feelings for the metaphorical has been revealed itself.
Now let's see the short answer. Where was the traveler from? The traveler came from an ancient desert. He saw a trunkless statue and the head of the statue, which was half buried in the sand. Second, what were the expressions on the face of the statue laying on the sand? The expression frown and wrinkled lip and a sneer of cold command were stamped on the statue of the king Ozymandias, while the half visible face of the statue bore an expression of king pride, arrogance, and vanity. Third one, what do the expressions on the statue reveals about the caliber of the sculpture? The expression shows that the sculptor understood the emotions of the person the statue is based on, and now those emotions live on curved forever on inanimate stone. Then fourth one, what do the lines written on the pedestal tell you about the character of Ozymandias? The inscription on the pedestal of Ozymandias statue says, I am Ozymandias, the king of kings, look on my works, ye mighty and despair. This suggests that the king was very boastful, vain, and arrogant. Then last one, what is the central idea of the poem? The major theme behind Ozymandias is that all power is temporary, no matter how prideful or tyrannical a ruler is. Ramses II was one of the ancient world's most powerful rulers. Let's see the summary of the poem. In the introduction part, Ozymandias is a sonnet. Though the poem is written in the style of sonnet, it does not follow any traditional structure of sonnet. Then, Ozymandias was the name by which Ramses II was known to the Greeks. He was famous for a number of architectural structures and his own statue he has created during his ruling period. Shelley, by knowing the shuttered condition of the statue, wrote this poem to convey a moral that powerful people and their powers is only temporary. The poem is written in first person narration. Next one, the traveler experience. The poet begins the poem in a story-like manner about his meeting of a traveler from an antique land. It is understood that the traveler is from Egypt and he narrates his travel experience to the poet. The traveler tells about the story about an old fragmented statue in middle of the desert. Next topic of the summary, the description of the statue. He describes seeing two vast legs of statue without the upper part of the body. Near those legs, the face of the statue, his destroyed was laying half sunk in the sand. Through the face is shattered, one could read the expression of the face. The face looks stern and powerful like a ruler. The traveler appreciated the sculptor who portrayed the expressions of the king well. He imitated the expression of the king by observing it in his heart. Here the writer indicates the immortality and the superiority of art. In conclusion part, the traveler tells about an inscription at the foot of statue. The inscription reveals it as Ozymandias, king of kings. He proudly asks the people who pass by to look at his work, to know his superiority, and to feel sad, as no one can create such wonderful movement like Ozymandias. Contradictory to the proud statement, the next line reveals the reality of life. Nothing was remaining in the desert. The vast area was covered with desertion and decay. Barrenness and the loneliness of the area indicates the powerless condition of humans.
இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா மறக்காம லைக் பண்ணுங்கள், ஷேர் பண்ணுங்கள், கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்கள், சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணி கூட இருக்க பெல் ஐக்கானையும் ப்ரெஸ் பண்ணுங்கள். தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் வாட்சிங்.